It's currently 8:08 a.m. and I have plans for the day. Plan A is me and my mom and my sister are going to drive to town to take my sister to my aunt so she can take her to the airport so she can fly to Florida. Plan B, read as many books as I can in 24 hours. There's not like a special readathon going on, but I needed to fill this time with this productivity that I don't feel like I have. I'm sort of in like the nesting stage of teaching, and that's when you know you have about 2 weeks left before you can actually plan and do anything in your room. But you can't necessarily go do that. Like I can email my principal right now and go in and do stuff, but I don't want to, but I also want to. So this is a way to sort of like trick that part of my brain that wants to check things off a list. I have read 75 books according to Goodreads and Storygraph right now, but I have about 3 books I haven't put in yet. So if we think it's about 78 books, I think I can crest over 80 today. I always kind of have a yearly goal of 100 books. If I can do more than that, great, but 100 is an achievable goal for me that still feels like I did something. So today I'm going to try to finish as many books as possible. I'm not going to start all of the books today. A lot of them are going to be finished, but I'm just going to see how many I can check off today. I have my Kindle, which I'll probably read in the car on the way to town. And on this I have Teacher of the Year, which I kind of just started reading, about 15% through that one. And it's pretty good so far. I also have gotten 75% of the way through A Twisted Love Story. I will absolutely finish that today. I'll probably listen to like that while I do Animal Crossing. I also just got my loan on my hold for This Poison Heart, which is for Buzzword, so I'll probably start that as soon as I finish A Twisted Love Story. But I also have The Last Laugh, which is the sequel to The Initial Insult, which I just finished and I wanted to pick up. But I have some other options, physical books that are like graphic novels, poetry, smaller novellas that I kind of have been meaning to read, especially ones that I maybe want to put in my classroom, but I'd like to read it first. So let me show you those real quick. Okay, this is a varied bunch, so stay with me. I have a graphic novel of Nat Turner. I just want to make sure it's going to be okay to put in the classroom library. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I'd like to read it first. I have the newest Jason Reynolds book is Ain't Burned All the Bright, and it's like a mixed media, so even though it's a big boy, a lot of it's like drawings and graphics. I've got A House with Good Bones. I've been meaning to read this, and it's pretty short. I probably can get at least part of it done. I have The Great Gatsby, but it's a graphic novel version. I just want to see if this will be something useful to some of my students to pick up. I don't know if I'll be teaching it or not, but it's good to have on hand. I also have The House on Mango Street. This is really little, and it's little vignettes. And this is a very commonly taught text. I have multiple copies of this in the classroom, but I have never read it, so I probably could knock that out. And last but not least, I have Persepolis. I'm so sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's an old enough book that's embarrassing for me. But anyway, we have classroom sets of this, and we typically teach it to the English 1 kids. I didn't teach it. I didn't have time to teach it. But I would like to read it because I have never read it. It became part of the canon sort of after I left high school. So I'm going to read this. I've read like parts of it, like, you know, in college, but never like the whole thing as a whole. So that's my big list. That's my huge list. I'm going to get a bag together and kind of put the ones I think are likely to be read while I'm out in public in that. But again, I've got the Kindle as a standby. And we're going to see how much I can get read. I'm going to take you with me today. It's going to be kind of a half-assed vlog situation, and we'll see. I don't think we're gonna do too much in town, and we don't have to go to 11, so like I can go ahead and get some reading done now. It's 8:12 now, just to let you know how long it takes to film. So I think I'm gonna start one of these, or you know what, I'm gonna play Animal Crossing this morning, get that out of the way, and go ahead and hopefully finish A Twisted Love Story. Again, I'll let you know. I just finished Ain't Burned All the Bright by Jason Reynolds. I already know like 3 kids I'm going to recommend this to. I think this was beautifully done. Tim, you have thoughts? I think for me, I mean, the whole book is really good. It's a collaboration between Jason Reynolds and Jason Griffin. So Jason Reynolds wrote 3 very long sentences, and Jason Griffin did all the mixed media in like notebooks. I love that it looks like there's tape holding the title on. It's just the way they've done it. There were some really impactful parts to me. I really do like the entire second section that's more about his father, or the character's father having COVID, because the descriptors are really beautiful in that. But the whole thing, read as a whole, is very, very good. But these are the parts that stood out to me, kind of, if I'm spark notes in it. At the one on the news saying another woman has just been... Now back to you, she says, and it goes back to the man saying another man has been brutally... and you can't tell from my camera, but it's like black duct tape, or it's like duct tape that's been painted black, and it makes you just kind of sit there with it. But I just really think that's very impactful. It happens again later, and it sort of interrupts a happier time, and that is kind of what 2020 felt like. It was always another tragic death. It was always stories of protest and the media spinning it a certain way. It was news about how many people had died of COVID. And this book is very 2020s. This is going to be a book that sort of like is a testament to that time and that pandemic. But there's another part in here that I thought would be a really beautiful poster for a classroom. He's searching for oxygen masks. Like the third section is like, I gotta find some way to breathe. And maybe oxygen masks are stocked in the books on the shelf my mother's been begging us to read. And that's just really pretty to me. And then immediately it flips to, but we haven't yet. It's like the book is sitting there waiting for you to read it. So I really enjoyed this. I think it has a really important thing to say, and I can list a couple of kids right now I know that will eat that all the way up. So that was number 1 down. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I might actually pick up my audiobook. My Switch was not charged, so I can't really play Animal Crossing. That's on me. But I might be able to clean a little bit, because it's still only... It's 8:51, so I've still got plenty of time. We're going to leave a little after 11, so I'm going to get done as much reading as I can now, so I don't have to read in the car with my family. Tim, you're so tall. Okay, I'm going to pick up my next book now. It is now 9:42, making great progress. Finished book number 2. This is really good. It is really good. I love that it was written with the intent of telling you more about Nat Turner, because really you only like see his name in passing sometimes with the American education system the way it is, and that was true for me. I knew Nat Turner was a thing. I knew a rebellion happened, a bunch of people died, but it was never described and shown the way this was. This will be a book that I probably have to be selective in who I recommend it to, just because it is very graphic. Like, it's not going to shy away from the horrors of what happened, and it's in your face of what happened. But it also tries to do its best to justify the rationale behind it. Like, yes, this was like a massacre, but when you looked at the systemic pressure going on, was he justified? Yeah, kind of. And okay, you hate to see this happening to this white family, but how did you feel when you saw his family torn from him? When you saw this man get killed for this small thing over here? When you saw the baby eaten by the sharks? Like, how did the images in the previous section of the book make you feel versus how you feel about these innocent families getting murdered. And it really makes you sit there with that kind of knowledge. The art style is beautiful. It's very sketchy. It becomes very focused and detailed when it needs to be, and it sort of like fades in a way that only like drawings can do to imply movement. And there's writing interspersed throughout, so if you don't really understand what's going on, it uses actual quotes from his confessions as well as the notes of the person who took the confessions to kind of explain what's going on. So this, again, it's kind of hard. I wouldn't teach it as like a overall book, mainly because I'm English. I feel like this would be a really good graphic novel for our American history class to use to kind of bring that literacy into the history department. But there are a couple of kids that I think this would be in their wheelhouse of something to read. They would enjoy it, and they would enjoy knowing more about this. And I really would just need to kind of vet the student, like, hey, it is graphic. There are people's heads removed. Are you prepared to deal with the trauma of this? Are your parents prepared for you to deal with the trauma of this? But I like this. That's good. I think I was going to read The House on Mango Street next, but I think I'm going to read The Great Gatsby graphic novel next. It's not that big, and I already know the story, so I can kind of fly through it. It's interesting that all three of the sort of graphic novel mixed media things I've gotten so far have been very, very different art styles. Because this looks like it's going to be a little bit more watercolor and traditional. And also, this is obviously very different, black and white kind of vibe. So yeah, I'll start on this one now. We'll see where we get. Again, it's not even 10 o'clock, and I've got, I think, another hour and a half until we have to go somewhere. So we're doing great, on a roll. 2 books down. I am forever haunted by the fact at the very beginning of The Great Gatsby, Nick is sort of reflecting on things, and he goes, Gatsby turned out all right in the end. Sir, he was murdered in a pool. Please explain. I can't. Sorry, I had forgotten that that line's in there. Ooh, I promise I'm not going to react to everything, but there's a scene here where he meets Daisy and Jordan in their like sitting area, and in the book it's very beautifully described. Okay, thank you, Janeway. I'll just raise you up here. It's very beautifully described in the book because they're kind of like ethereal. It's like they're not even really there. They're white dresses blowing in the breeze, and the curtains mingling and whatever. And instead of like writing all that description, he's just drawn it. So that's why I really like graphic novels sometimes for students who can't get that kind of stuff. This is helpful. I'm actually gonna stop filming myself reading because Tim is walking around and Janeway is like not a fan of Timothy. So I'm gonna try to keep her protected from him real quick. And I'll get back to you on my thoughts on this when I finish it. My mom just texted me that she's on her way to get me so we can head to town and drop my sister off. But I'm slowly getting through Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby is notoriously really short. It's only 9 chapters long. And this chapter is the one where they are in the hotel with Tom and his mistress Myrtle. And Nick gets really, really drunk. But they changed the ending of it. This is the ending of it. And if you've read the novel, you know that he's supposed to wake up pretty much naked in bed with this random man looking at photographs. I can see why. Actually, editing here, I looked this up while I was editing that because I'm like, maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe this is accurate. And technically, yes, that chapter 2 does end with him waiting for the train. But there's a tiny little interspersed scene where he is standing half-dressed by the bedside of Mr. McKee, and Mr. McKee is like naked in bed with his portfolio looking through pictures. It is a very contested part of the novel, especially for people who believe that Nick is supposed to be gay. That there might have been a sexual encounter between him and Mr. McKee, and again, if Nick isn't, Mr. McKee is heavily implied to be. But I find it funny that they didn't include really much of a reference to that at all in the graphic novel. Like, I can see why, but it tells me a lot about their interpretation of the text. Anyway, that's just English teacher 2 cents. I fear for the homoerotic subtext of this interpretation. It just makes me nervous. I'm going to take this with me. I'm going to take this with me, and obviously my Kindle, and we'll see what I can get done. We also found out we are going to go to a baseball game tonight, so I don't think I'll be getting much read at the baseball game, so that's going to impact my plan a little bit. We'll see what happens. Also, I just found out that Taylor Swift is coming to the U.S. again next year, but she's not coming anywhere near North Carolina. Oh my God, Taylor, what do you have against us? Please let me know so I can fix it. Anyway, I'll get back up with you. I'll keep you updated. So Becca, are you excited?
I'm a little hungry right now. I'm not really anxious yet.
I would choose a chewing gum.
Did you bring something to read?
Yes, I bought that book.
Which book?
The second one.
Of what series?
Bitch, the one you got me. I don't remember.
Finley Donovan?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I don't know what the air things on are back there.
It's fine.
But
Do you think you'll finish it on the plane, or do you think you'll finish
my
it?
goal is to finish it during the travel.
I
Because
gotcha.
I finished the first one during the travel.
Alright, I'll try to pick up the third one. That way you have that for the next trip.
Like waiting for my, now I know you're not one of those guys that gets fries with, because you know better than that.
Support motorcyclists. Spray the grass back in.
Anywho,
Well, I'm excited to see if you like the second one.
I will probably like it, because the first one kept me from vomiting and panicking, so I'm pretty sure this one will also keep me from vomiting and panicking.
Which is a great bar for reading.
Who you yelling at?
Why are you yelling at me?
Who you yelling at? Oh, hey, Lila.
I got big old fluffy girl.
Hey, big girl. Hello. 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 Oh, babies. Hey, babies. Bye, babies.
Okay, for an update, it is 4:24. I'm finally back home. I have read all but like the last technically 3 chapters of Great Gatsby. We're in the big chapter. Chapter 7 is where like everybody's hot and mad and stupid. So I'm gonna finish that chapter. Shouldn't take too long to finish the rest of it. But that would still only put me at the 3 books that I have read. So I think I brought my books with me. I did not read them. I didn't have a lot of time to. It just didn't feel right. These are the 2 that I have on deck. And it is kind of like the last ditch possibility. I also haven't listened to my audiobook yet. So I'm going to go ahead and sit down and play Animal Crossing for a little while after I finish this. Because again, this is like a 10-minute thing to do. So I'll do that. And then I will play Animal Crossing and listen to a loud truck go by, A Twisted Love Story, and hopefully finish that, because again we have to go to a baseball game tonight, so we're going to go to that at around 6:30, which will be about 4-ish hours, if it doesn't get rained out, but I don't think it will. I may still bring my Kindle or another book to read while I'm there, because I can multitask. And then there is literally nothing that says I cannot stay up super late to read books, because it is summer and I'm a teacher and I have nothing to do tomorrow. So hopefully I will get more of these knocked out. Again, we're just going to have to see. I was going to film and Enjoy. I went to Enjoy. I was going to get books and I was going to film. Everybody was at Enjoy today. Everybody was at Enjoy today, and there were like no books there. There were a lot of people in there talking about the books, but they made the same comment I did. It's like, we haven't gotten new books in a while. But they were having a summer kind of like closeout sale, and it was just a lot. So I'm not even gonna worry about it. And I found like one book, and I was like, I can live without this one. I'll put it back. So let me go ahead and finish Great Gatsby, I guess, and we'll move on from there.
I think it's interesting that they made the conscious decision to draw Tom and Myrtle's husband almost exactly the same. Like down here, like they could be brothers. Very, very thematically important, considering especially this panel. And again, I don't want to be mean. I don't know how much of that is because the drawing is very simple in this graphic novel, or if they're actually trying to make a point. A lot of the folks just look similar, like they look the same. But I think those two are like specifically drawn as these blonde dudes on purpose. Because, yeah, there's really fundamentally no difference between them. Anyway, thought that was interesting.
So I haven't quite finished A Twisted Love Story yet, but I stopped playing Animal Crossing, so I'll have to finish that later. I did start this, and I'm about halfway. I'm enjoying it so far. It's very interesting because it's a lot of history that I don't really know, just because we don't learn it, even though the U.S. had quite a hand in some of this stuff. And it is very funny. Like, it's this kind of, the style of humor is very my brand of humor. And I do like the art style. So far, I think the most interesting or unique art style has been the Nat Turner graphic novel. This is probably the most visually pleasing. It's very simple, black and white. And it's pretty easy to follow. It's just like little vignettes of her life growing up during this revolution. I'm enjoying it. I think I would have to like take classes and do some studying before I taught it in school, like as a text, because I don't know what I would teach to like freshmen. Again, we usually teach this to freshmen, so I don't know. But I'll get back at you when I'm finished with it, I guess. Okay, I still have a good half of this to go. Here's my issue. I've got about 30% battery life on my phone. I'm thinking I'm going to go get the charger, plug it in, listen to my audiobook for a while, because I am inevitably going to need to find a good live for the Eras tour tonight, because there's this big conspiracy she's going to do something crazy tonight and then potentially the other nights. Now, she's already released those new tour dates, so that could be the whole thing. It's like, oh, that's why this date was important. Which, again, I'm trying not to be salty that you won't come to the Carolinas. Anyway, I'm hoping for a release. I don't know if I want 1989 or Reputation. I'm a Reputation girly, so I really do want that one. But I'm just here for the live anyway. I think it's going to be a fun string of shows these next few days. But all that is to say, I'm going to be reading this. I also have the house on Mango Street that once the lives get going later on, because I'm on the East Coast or on the West Coast, I've still got a little time. I will probably read while I watch the lives, but I will finish the audiobook up till then. I can't recommend A Twisted Love Story enough. It is so stupid in the best possible way. It's like watching a really bad Lifetime movie where you can sit with your friends and kind of get drunk and shit talk it. That's what it feels like. Everybody is absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and they are in their own world. They are not letting anything bring them down. Nothing's going to break their stride. No, nothing can control their narrative but them, and it's so bad. I think I'm gonna end up really liking it. But again, I've got about 20-something% left. I have no idea what to expect. I've never read Samantha Downing before, so I don't know if she throws in last minute stuff. But I think if I keep on at the rate I'm doing, I can finish that one and this one and potentially the house on Mango Street before I go to bed tonight, which would be nice. But anyway, yeah, that's just me kind of talking out my plan of attack as far as getting the rest of these books read while also enjoying uh, Taylor Swift. I'm really dumb for real. You just know what I realized I could do, like just now. I can look up a live on my computer. I can just watch the live on my computer and also use my phone. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that up because I've been cleaning the library. Like, I know it doesn't look like this is organized, but I promise it is. And then this is so much more open now because I've moved that shelf. It's going to go to my classroom. So like this is super open now. Please ignore that. We're not gonna look at the corner of the room. It's so bad over there. But I don't have anywhere for that stuff to live. So anyway, I'm gonna get my computer and set up in here and listen to an audiobook and play Animal Crossing until the show starts. On the back row of our section. Oh, sorry, 336. No, yeah, 336. Hyam is playing, and I love Hyam. Like I just want to go see them play at some point, but I've been struggling to continue reading because finding a live is always a struggle, and of course the show hasn't actually started yet, so the people who are just there for the show haven't. Oh, I want you back. Anyway, the people who usually live stream like the whole show haven't really set up yet, so I have to keep getting up and I love this song and keep working on it. So anyway, I'm gonna read and I'm gonna listen to this. I have to go because I love this song. Nobody, no crime is starting. It's so good. Okay, it's midnight. Meet me at midnight. I've just started House on Mango Street. She's clearly only on her third era. Someone got proposed to in a live that I'm watching, which is wild. I don't think Taylor planned that, but it happens. So I'm gonna try to hang in there until the surprise songs. But Nimoy's already tapped out. So like, we'll see how far I get. I can tell my brain is not in it to win it for reading. I did finish my previous book. I did like it. I'll probably have more thoughts on that when I actually wrap up this video. But you don't have to snore. I know you're tired. Drama queen. Anyway, I'm going to go back to enjoying the live and reading this. I have to go to bed. She's on All Too Well. I technically only got 2 eras to go before Secret Songs. But it's 1:16 and I'm an old woman. And I need to go ahead and start getting myself used to going to bed earlier because I am a teacher and in 2 weeks I need to get up early. Sorry, so good. Anyway, I'm over halfway through with this. I'll update you in the morning. I technically have to like 9 o'clock with my 24 hours, so. Okay. I'm gonna let this song finish so that I'm going to bed. Good night. Okay, so I did not wake up at a decent time to finish reading today. It's currently 10:13, but to my credit, when I woke up at 7 o'clock, it was raining. And it's cloudy now. Like, I'm surprised it's not raining now. So, like, I had to go back to bed. Like, that's the rules. If it's summer and you wake up on a day off and it's raining, you go back to bed. Anyway, so here's technically the rundown and wrap up of what I finished during my, like, self-imposed 24-hour readathon. I finished The Great Gatsby, if I could speak, graphic novel, and it was pretty good. I think the images are a little bit simplistic. I get some of the thematic and stylistic choices, but all the characters look kind of alike. That works in that one thing that I mentioned, but for the rest of it, it's kind of like, okay, which one's talking here? The hair colors are not differentiated enough. Ain't Burned Off Bright was amazing. I have students I can't wait to put that in their hands and maybe actually order a couple more copies for my classroom. the Nat Turner graphic novel, which, while really informative to me on stuff that I didn't know about, is beautifully drawn, but will definitely need some vetting before I put it in the hands of like a 13-year-old. Persepolis, I think it's how you pronounce it. Persepolis. This is really good. I did enjoy the little vignettes. I had read one of them before. I remember from like class or something. And it's the one Shabbos where the family gets bombed at the end of the street. And that's near the end. And I didn't realize it ended like it did, so I'll probably pick up the sequel at some point. I know this is the one that we teach, but I don't know if the one we teach is kind of like how Mouse has a part 1 and 2, and sometimes they're bound together. Our school only teaches Mouse 1. So I don't know if we only teach this. I need to look at our copies. I only got about a little over halfway in the house on Mango Street, and I can feel my brain refusing to take in information. So it's actually probably best that I finish that today. So far, I'm liking it. It's just cute little stories from childhood. It's like you're sitting at lunch with a friend, and she's like, "Oh my God, so we used to do this thing. We would walk in high heels down the street, and these guys would like catcall us. And now that I'm thinking about it as an adult, it wasn't really like a smart thing that we did." Like, that's what it feels like when you're revealing your childhood traumas to people, and that's how you realize it's a childhood trauma. I also started this Poison Heart on an audiobook because I finished A Twisted Love Story, which again tends across the board the stupidest crap. It ends so silly. I kind of called the ending, but I didn't call it in the way they did it, and I was like, I thought it was very funny. I was laughing. I'm gonna put you down, okay? You're gonna fall over. I'm gonna help you. Help yourself. And that's it. I didn't even touch my Kindle yesterday. I didn't even pick up Teacher of the Year, so I'll probably read some of that today and listen to this Poison Heart again. But that's not bad for one day. I know it's mostly graphic novels, but like graphic novels are still reading it. I'm still reading words. I essentially read The Great Gatsby in one day because that graphic novel has like the entire text in it. It's adapted, but it's a lot of reading. So yeah, that's it. That's been this video. I hope you enjoyed this. I just really couldn't think of anything necessarily to do. I've got some ideas for like the fall and for teaching, but I don't have anything to get me there. And I'll probably read some more today, but you just got to follow me on Instagram to see that. All right, bye.